platforms, so Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Whichever channel you're on, you can actually leave a comment or a message. And I'm going to leave a space for questions at the end. So just drop your questions in there, and then I will take it at the end. So just to kick off, let me just share my screen. So today is about the ultimate 6-step approach for local businesses to maximize sales. And if you want to actually maximize sales, the first thing you need to understand before you do anything is to actually understand the shopping process. And trust me, the shopping process has changed dramatically in recent times. There was a time if people were shopping for something locally, they would look through the yellow pages, or they just look around and say, look, I remember seeing XYZ at some street, and that's what they would do. But the entire shopping process has changed. And like I said, if you want to influence and increase or maximize your sales, the first thing you need to understand is exactly how people shop now. And to take you through this process, what I thought was best is to just walk you through in customer shoes exactly how they go through the shopping process. Now, when I take you through this process, the one thing I want to make sure you actually understand at each step of this process, you can either make money or you can lose money if you leverage that point absolutely correctly. And that's what I'm going to take you through. What I'm actually going to take you through is based on personal experience and speaking to lots of people in terms of exactly how they shop now. So when you look at the process, the first thing is I need something. And as soon as I need something, I immediately start with a Google search. That's what most people do, and I'll share some stats with you on this, but the large majority of people, when they want something, the first thing is that they actually do is go into Google search. So as soon as I go into Google search, I might look at something like restaurant near me, a wellness spa near me, jeweler near me, hairdresser near me, or whatever. As soon as I do that, what I get is a whole list of businesses that kind of pop up. And what I normally do in that process is I move across to Google Maps, because I not just want to see who these businesses are, but I also want to see how far away they are from my actual premise. Now, when you look at the whole list, you go, there's heaps of these. I have to make some form of short list. And the way people make a short list is through Google reviews. But when you look at Google reviews, they don't just, so when I talk about Google reviews, I'm talking about the 5-star ratings. So they look at it and you say, is it 4 out of 5, 4.5 out of 5, and so on and so forth. So that is the first thing that catches your eye. But the key point that I want to make is that they don't just look at the rating, they start looking at other things, such as the quantity of actual reviews you've got. So some people might have a really high rating, but they might just be 10 or 20. And if you look at 10 or 20, then you might say, well, it's probably just family and friends. So people look at the quantity of ratings, they look at the recency of ratings, they look at the quality of ratings. So they look at comments to say, oh, this place is amazing, the staff are so helpful, the food is delicious, et cetera, et cetera. So they look at the quality of ratings. And then they look at the recency of ratings. So someone might have a high rating, but they haven't received a rating in the last 3 months. And then it really becomes a case of, well, I wonder what they've been doing for the last 3 months. So at each point that I've taken you through so far, I need something, let me search. The first thing is, are you getting found? If you're not getting found, chances are you're losing money. But if you are getting found, then you've got a chance of making money. The second point is, I need a short list. So if you make the short list, you're kind of making money. If you don't make the short list for whatever reason, you're losing money. And then the next thing is, how do I choose? So how do I become the preferred choice? And people don't just look at reviews, they look at all sorts of things around the reviews. The next step then becomes, once I've selected someone, let me reach out. And in my instance, to give you my own example, I look at someone that I select from this list very quickly, and I try to reach out to them. Now, if I reach out to them and I call them as an example, and they're not there, then chances are I would go to the next person on the list. So, being easy to contact, easy to deal with becomes really, really critical. So if you miss out on this point, so you've hit the point where you are the selected choice, but then, you're not easy to contact because you're busy or whatever, then it becomes really, really hard. And then, of course, let's not forget, you actually have an experience. So you go there and you go to the restaurant, you go to the wellness spa, you go to the beautician, and the real issue was how good or bad was the experience. It goes without saying that if the experience is great, then I'll tell all my friends about it. I might even leave a kind of a positive review. But if the experience was bad, then I might not come back. But for this instance, let's just presume that the experience was amazing and it was really great. And you think to yourself, I really, really like them. I'm quite happy to buy from them again. Now, to reiterate again, at each point, you can either make money or you can lose money. If someone finds you, I need something, let me search. If you get found, you'll make money. If you don't get found, you lose money. If you make the shortlist, you either make money or lose money. If you become the preferred choice, then you make money or you lose money. And then from that point on, once they make a decision, you have to be easy to contact at that moment. And then, of course, it goes without saying, regardless of how much you spend in all this stuff to get customers into the door, the actual experience has to be great. And it has to be so great that they want to come back again and they want to tell their friends. Now, having taken you through these 6 steps, let me tell you the leverage points. So how do you leverage each point as a local business to maximize your sales? So the first thing, like I said, did you get found? And 89% of people start with a Google search. So the fact that you get found is a critical thing. Now, you can get found by spending money on Google ads. You can spend money, you can invest money in terms of SEO. But I can tell you something that is quite embarrassing. In my list of businesses that I search, typically the top 2 are people who've actually spent money on Google ads. But if their ratings are not high enough, it's almost embarrassing. So you spend money on those ads, but your rating is just not good enough. So you really don't get considered, even though you get found. But we'll come to that later. But 89% start with a Google search, which is a fundamental shift in terms of shopping behavior. Now, local search traffic has increased by like 400%. And the reason for this is multifold. The first reason is obviously Australia has been through multiple lockdowns and so on and so forth. So the traditional places you go to shop may no longer be there and you have to look closer to home. In some instances, there are distance regulations. So you can only leave your house 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers away. So again, the normal places you might go to are not possible for you in any way in terms of lockdown. So you have to find something closer to home. So people automatically have been searching more. The second aspect of this equation is that people are stuck at home and they can't go out and physically shop. So how do they replace that experience? They go and they shop online. And because of that, search traffic has increased dramatically, in recent years, and it's been accelerated as soon as COVID happened. Now, here's some interesting stats. So getting found is critical because 50% of local searches, so people who actually did a local search visited the business within a day, and 20% of them lead to a sale. So there's absolutely no doubt that getting found is a critical aspect. Now, let me tell you a secret that not many people know. There are many ways you can get found on Google search. You can spend money on ads. You can spend money in increasing your SEO, and they're all useful. But another simple way to do it is to actually increase the number of reviews you get from customers. Respond to those reviews regularly, because then the search crawling engines look at it and say, this is an active website. So, or an active business. So that aspect is really critical, and not many people know this. So the more reviews you get from customers, the more you actually respond as a business is critical in improving your SEO and helping you get found. The next question is really critical, because you might get found, like I said, you might be in the top 10, but most people have to sift through 10, 15 different brands. The real issue is, are you on the short list? So how important are reviews? 89% of people are influenced by reviews. And it's not just in terms of local searches, it's in terms of almost anything out there. Basically, what actually happens is that when you actually look at something, a business advertises it, but someone like me who rates it high or low has a lot more effect than just the business advertising. So to give you an example, even with something like movies, people look at reviews, people look at comments other people have made before deciding whether they should select a movie or not. They don't just rely on the trailer for the movie. But so reviews count, but how do customers actually choose? Oh, here's another interesting point. 89% are influenced by actual reviews, but 29% sit outside the establishment reading reviews before making a decision to come in. So that really exemplifies the impact reviews have in terms of selecting your business. But how do customers actually choose? When it comes to how do people actually choose, it comes down to how do they compare. So typically what businesses do is create a bit of a short list. So you might have 10 providers and you might look at ratings initially, but you might look at 3 or 4, maybe 5 kind of providers that you might want to do business with, but how do you compare? So how do you choose? And this is where it's more than just the ratings. So there's absolutely no doubt people look at ratings out of 5. But after that, the next thing they look at is the number of ratings. So like I said before, you might have a business that's been in business for 2-3 years. They only have 20 ratings, but they've got 5 out of 5. You would look at that suspiciously. In comparison, if you had a similar kind of business that had 300 ratings and had been in business for 2 years as well, you might look at that more favorably. So people are pretty smart. Ratings by themselves don't mean anything. People look at the number of ratings as well. The next thing, like I said previously, is people look at the quality of the comments. So are people saying, if I went to a wellness spa, oh, they're so friendly, they're so helpful, it was an amazing experience. If you go to a restaurant, do they say the food was amazingly delicious, or do they just say it was okay? So the quality of comments that come out is important as well. And then people look at the frequency. So how frequently do people make comments for the kind of business it is, right? So if it's a business like a restaurant that should get a lot of visitors, is the frequency high enough? And then recency. So you might look at a review and say it's really high, but they haven't got too many reviews in the last 3 months. So chances are maybe they've dropped the ball a bit, right? So how do I choose? And this is probably the most important bit, because getting found is relatively easy. Being in the top 10 is relatively easy, but how do you get found? And when people assess you, they assess you comparatively in comparison to your competitors, and they look at all these 5 things to actually decide who is the preferred choice. And being the preferred choice is probably the most important factor in these steps. But as soon as you do that and you make a decision, then the next issue becomes, is it easy to reach out to you? So for example, I make a decision for something like a wellness spa, and I try to call them. And when I call them, I can't get through. Now, if that website has some kind of web chat facility where I can leave a message and someone will get back to me, that would be great. Now, having said this, a lot of businesses have web chats with an AI bot. And I don't know what your experience has been with kind of AI bots, but somehow AI bots never, ever seem to understand exactly what I want, never seem to understand exactly what my problem is. And I'm left there waiting for the AI bot to understand me. And after I do that, they eventually send me to a live operator. When I go to a live operator, it takes ages. With telcos and ISP and cable companies, I have spent up to 1 hour on web chats with AI bots. And I'm sure a lot of you have had the same experience. But instead of this, if you had a web chat based on SMS where you left an SMS, you didn't have to hang in there, and you get a message to say, we've got your SMS, we'll be in touch with you shortly, then at least you know you've made an inquiry and it's done and dusted. It's also a way for small business to go digital, right? So to take a process that is normally manual and convert it into digital. But of course, at the end of the day, you can do all this stuff, and this is all hard work to get to this point, and then a customer comes to you and they have an experience. So the real question to ask yourself is the experience with us worthy of recommendation? No point having an experience that's just mere satisfaction, because you know what? In this day and age, just satisfying customers is not enough. When you're facing 10 competitors in your local area, just offering satisfaction is just not good enough. Our research in Australia has found that word of mouth and reviews, we ask people, what influences you the most in making a purchase decision? So word of mouth from someone like me and reviews make up 70% of purchase influences. So if you don't get this right, you can bang your drum as much as you want. Your sales just won't come through. And in other words, your customers' word of mouth reviews are the most powerful sales and marketing channel you have out there. And it's critical that you actually find ways to fully convert your customers into brand ambassadors. To this end, what you need is short, sharp SMS surveys. Good thing about SMS surveys is that they get read. As I'll share with you soon, 98% of SMSs get opened. You can't say the same about emails. Now, short, sharp SMS services to say, hey, were we worthy of recommendation? Would you recommend us to someone? And then an open comment question. And then getting the themes from those open comment questions will quickly help you work out, what you need to do to get better. I remember I had an experience in a resort where after every interaction, every meal, every cultural event, they asked you 4 questions, very short, sharp survey. And the management sat down and looked at all the responses and improved their business. That is the absolute key to create experiences worthy of recommendation. There's nothing worse than flying blind and having no idea. So offering an experience which you think is the best experience ever, and your customers don't really agree. So actually having insights in terms of how this works is critical. And then when you actually understand your pain points and strengths, you can really make sure that it's not just a good experience, it becomes a memorable experience. The last point is this. So every business out there has days in the week or hours in the day that are relatively slack. And you have customers out there that absolutely love you and they're already brand ambassadors. And the real issue is, how do you increase revenue by increasing repeat purchases? And the key aspect here is 98% of SMS, like I said, gets opened. Now, you will already know through this process, through the short surveys you've done, through the reviews they've left, people who absolutely love your business. And during these periods when things are slack for whatever reason, you can reach out to them in a very targeted way via SMS campaigns with relevant offers, because you know they really like you and they'll buy from you again, and you can increase revenue. So just to recap, in terms of if you get found or not in step 1, you either make money or you lose money. If you get on the short list, you either make money or you lose money. If you become the preferred choice, so the number 1 choice, you make money or you lose money. And once it's easy, to reach out to you, it's again a case of, is it easy? Is it not easy? You never know how many customers would have wanted to do business with you and then just dropped out. And then let's look at the actual experience. Then let's look at making money in terms of increasing repeat purchases. Now, when you actually look at everything I've taken you through, it sounds logical. It is exactly how people shop. And I've shared with you the key points in the customer journey that you need to leverage to maximize your sale. Or what are the proof points? So for all the actual benefits I've outlined to you, we have partnered with Podium, basically technology partner, and they're relatively new in Australia, but they've got 100,000 plus customers globally. And I want to share some results with you to really provide the proof points to give you a sense of assurance that this does actually work. Um, Podium has achieved almost 50% increase in driving direction. So let me explain what that is when you go into Google search and you find a business and then it says to you, do you want driving directions to go there? So almost a 50%, and this is aggregate across all their customers. Clicks to call. So in Google My Business, you have, someone clicks on it and then you can click on a button to get a call. In other words, the calls to the business have increased. Website visits have gone up by 67%, which is a really, really large number. And listing views have gone up by more than 50%. So as you can see, these are tangible benefits that businesses can achieve if they go through, leveraging each and every touch point in the customer journey. Now, so when it comes down to it, how can we help you to maximize your sales as a local business? The main thing, I suppose, is our skill set is we have been offering customer experience services to medium and large businesses. And with those medium and large businesses, we've helped them achieve amazing results in terms of customer experience, loyalty, and growth. And we're going to share those insights with local businesses to help them achieve the same kind of results. So the first thing is we can help you get found. So how do we help you get found? We can show you how you can increase the number of reviews you get. We can show you exactly how to respond to those reviews so that your SEO goes up. We can help you make it to the shortlist by, one is increasing your actual review ratings. It again, increasing the number of reviews you actually get, your recency, your frequency, and so on and so forth. So you have a much better chance of making the shortlist. In fact, what we can do is help you become the customer's preferred choice. So one of the solutions we can offer you is the ability to look at your reviews versus your key competitor reviews and see exactly how you perform against them so that you can work out what you need to do, increase your overall ratings, increase the recency, frequency, quality, number, et cetera, side by side, so that you can aim to be the number one choice. And again, we can help you do this. Go digital with a human touch. So small businesses are under pressure because, customers want services like Amazon and Netflix and so on and so forth. But the best thing about this is with Podium, because they've got so many customers, they can share the cost and give local businesses the ability to really go digital, but with a human touch. So like I said before, web chat with an AI bot, you could be stuck there for ages waiting for someone to get back to you and understand you. With an SMS, it's literally, you just know that you've sent an SMS, they'll get it, they'll respond, you don't have to hang in there, but it's there. And the best thing is there is a human at the end of this call, and hence it is a very personalized experience with a human touch. The next point is create great experiences. You cannot create great experiences unless you fully understand how customers perceive your business. What do they like about your business? What don't they like? What aspects are good, not good? Which customer service rep is amazing and is really creating promoters for your brand, and so on and so forth. So you shouldn't fly blind. And the tool gives you the abilities to send short, sharp surveys so you truly understand who are promoters for your brand, who are detractors, and how you can take corrective action. And the last thing is, like I said, every business has a slack period where things are a little bit slow. And that is the opportunity, because you already know, from your surveys and from your reviews, exactly which customers are brand ambassadors for you and just love your brand. You can target them with targeted, personalized campaigns and you can increase revenue in low times. So hopefully that covers the 6 ways you can actually maximize sales as a local business. And at this stage, I am going to take questions that have come through. Now, the questions will only come through on Facebook. So let me just address the first question on the list. So the first question is a very broad question. What are the challenges local businesses face today? So right now, there's absolutely no doubt that the biggest challenge people face is COVID and all the lockdowns that go with it. You know, a lot of businesses like gyms, as an example, are just basically shut down now. So that means the revenue has just stopped, right? So that is a big, big impact. But then when I look at the other challenges local businesses face, is increased competition. So in my searches for wellness centers, restaurants, gyms, etc., there's just so many options out there. So the issue is, how do you really, really stand out? And that's the next challenge. And hopefully I've covered that in my actual presentation. And the third challenge that local businesses face is this expectation from customers that has risen dramatically. Customers have great digital experiences with the likes of Amazon, as an example, or even Netflix, and they go, why can't I get this from any business? Now, all the big corporate players have understood this and have invested heavily in terms of digital transformation. But what about local businesses? And local businesses can benefit from something like Podium for a few $100s a month. They can literally offer a digitally transformative type of experience that is very efficient, but has a human touch to it. So for example, I didn't cover this off earlier, but you can collect payments, as an example, via SMS messaging. So these are the challenges that people are facing. So you've got competition, you've got, COVID, and you've got this expectation driven by digital companies like Amazon. So people really want you to be easy to deal with. The next question is, why has local search traffic increased by 400%? So this is interesting. The reason it's increased by 400% is simply this. It's because once you're in a lockdown situation, people who used to never shop online are now shopping online. So a lot of older people are now shopping online. And the only way they have, without physically going in there and touching things and feeling things and talking to someone, is to go online and shop and look at reviews and so on and so forth. So that is why search traffic has gone up. The next thing is sometimes you're limited because, again, you can go shopping, but only, say, for example, 5 or 10 kilometers radius from your house. And you have to now look for new suppliers. So you have to look for local suppliers. And that is one thing that is, increase the rate of Google searches. Another reason that's cropped up recently, because of all the supply chain challenges of getting supplies from overseas. I know, as an example, personally, I was looking for a hi-fi amplifier, and my normal brand was just not available, and I needed one. And because I needed one, I had to now kind of search for something that I would not normally buy. So I did need to use search more than I normally would, where previously I would just walk into a shop and talk to a salesperson. So that explains that. Got a question from Venkatesh that says, are 4+ ratings enough if there are a high number of reviews? Now, first of all, I think I should break that question into 2 pieces. Are 4+ ratings enough? My answer would be definitely not, because when I did all my searches across all these categories, jewelers, wellness spas, gyms, childcare centers, restaurants, when I did searches on theirs near me, almost everyone had 4+ ratings, right? So 4+ by itself is not enough. So then the real issue becomes what is enough. You need a 4+ rating with a significant number of reviews, because that says a lot of people are actually visiting your establishment, so it is popular. So you need a combination of a star rating and the number of reviews at the very least. The icing on the cake is the quality of reviews that come in. So if it's a restaurant, people say amazingly delicious, authentic, all that helps. But fundamentally, the two things you need is the number of ratings and a rating that is not just 4+, but higher. The next thing you've got to always look at is it's a relativity game, right? So in one market, one geographic market, restaurant near me, a 4+ rating might be fine because all the other restaurants are doing really badly. But you need to look at your market and say, okay, if I'm searching, as an example, for a wellness spa or a Thai restaurant, in my vicinity, relatively speaking, do I have the highest rating or not? That is the most important measure you need to look at. It's the relativity to your competitors in your market as opposed to clear numbers. Okay, the last question is very interesting. And this is something which over the last few years, SEO has been the driving force of, agencies talking to businesses about getting found, being on the first page of Google and at least the second page, and so on and so forth. Is it important? Absolutely important. If people can't find you, you can't even begin to dream of doing business with them. No doubt about that. But like I said, I've seen people who spend money on ads, who show up on the list, but their review ratings are low. So that next stage you need to understand as well. So by all means, invest in SEO, invest in terms of being high up in terms of ranking. But if your ratings of your reviews and your quality and so on and so forth, and the numbers are not good enough, you will lose it at the next stage. And chances are, based on the kind of question you've put in, you have spent money at the front end, but people are dropping out of the equation because the quality of your reviews, the rating of your reviews is not as high as your competitors. So that is the number one reason. So throughout the process, I hope one thing is really clear. You can't just do SEO or you can't just do reviews. You have to do the whole thing. You have to make sure you get found. You've got to make sure that your reviews are high enough, specifically better than your competitors. You have to be easy to be found. You have to deliver great experiences, and you need to know, what is delivering great experience and what isn't, because if you can't do that, you're really flying blind. And then eventually, you need to know exactly who your engaged customers are, that you can then target them to increase repeat purchases and increase revenue. So hopefully that all makes sense. The one thing I would say is, the last bit of advice is take a holistic approach. Don't just focus on one thing over another. Everything has to work like a Swiss watch for it to really hum together so that you can maximize your sales. Okay, I don't have any other questions. So now that we've come to the end of this, the next step for anyone who's listening to this is there will be a link that you can click on, that you can have a look at a quick 3-minute video that has a demo of the entire system. You can reach out to us and we can share additional information with you. But I would strongly suggest you need to do that, because in this day and age, the number of businesses I saw with 4+ reviews across categories with no differentiation is chronic. And in that environment where there's a sea of sameness everywhere, then you're just going to get natural share. If there are 10 businesses, each one will get 10%. That's what I mean by natural share. If you want to really stand out, then you need to leverage each of these 6 points. So I hope today has been helpful, and please reach out and on this actual handle or any other social handles, and hope to talk to you again soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.